Other genetic materials exist elsewhere in the universe.
Life is going to evolve differently, if it's going to evolve at all. So if you're going to go to another planet, you're going to have to adapt yourself. ET is going to have to be bio-designed to survive on that new world.
If a visitor had to adapt itself to our conditions, how would it do that? Why not make a minimal unit of matter that can adopt its algorithm or adopt its approach to the planet according to the elements available?
This may be exactly what the aliens have done. Engineered a life form to survive on our world, or take it over. The closest thing humans have to alien DNA is at Arizona State University, where a team of researchers have been experimenting with their own synthetic genetic material, XNA.
The X in XNA stands for xeno, the Greek word that means foreign or possibly alien.
To make XNA, scientists replace the natural sugars in the double helix backbone with an artificial sugar created in their lab.
So instead of deoxyribose, which is the D in DNA, we've got an X for whatever that X might be, an unnatural sugar.
Someday, this XNA could save lives.
With diseases, in certain cases, you have genes that are getting made that you don't want to be made. So you could create an XNA molecule that could fold into a shape that could prevent the expression of that message, so silence the message.
Silence a lethal message, and you've effectively cured a disease. The aliens have built their DNA on a type of sugar that only exists as a synthetic in our labs. It could be natural to their world, or they could have designed it for ours.
I would be much more unsettled by an encounter with alien life that looked like us than I would with one that looked completely different from us.
Yo, it's your boy Sage, your #1 conspiracy theorist.
If Columbus had someone on board who looked like the Caribbeans, perhaps the Caribbeans would have reacted more calmly to Columbus's arrival. The aliens might try the same thing.
If there were alien microorganisms in our midst, chances are it wouldn't be a good outcome for us. Those microorganisms would be an invasive species that we would not have any immunity to because we would have never encountered them before.
These tiny alien dust particles could carry an unknown deadly disease or a parasite. Like Toxoplasma gondii, now carried by an estimated half of all humans. Researchers have shown it can make people more neurotic, more likely to have a car crash, and may even cause schizophrenia. The ship gives up no clues to its intent. Then, all at once, the ship disintegrates into billions of fractal fragments. After 40 days, circling 500 miles above Earth, the most amazing thing we've ever encountered is gone. Was there an accident on board? Or is it the next phase of a silent takeover?
This might be an alien intelligence's way of distributing itself throughout the galaxy. This is what they do. Once the salmon have deposited their eggs and fertilized their eggs, they all die. This is their swimming upstream. They find a world like ours, they deliver what they have to deliver and die.
Instead of easing our fears, the destruction of the mothership only makes us more paranoid. China has built some sort of dark energy device by following alien instructions. Some allege the machine is a superweapon.
They're lying to you, they're lying to your family, they're lying to your dog.
Fringe voices even accuse the Chinese government of destroying the mothership to keep ET's secrets to themselves.
China has blown up the mothership.
Human beings will weaponize whatever we come into contact with. Lasers were a lab toy, and now we have beams that can knock drones out of the sky.
Old terrors, like economic collapse or even world war, can't compare to this new threat. Alien invasion. Billions of hybrid machine organisms swarm our major population centers.
You're going to find people utterly fearful of these things, even if they haven't demonstrated hostile intent. The mere fact that they're moving would represent a threat to a lot of people.
If people knew that a life form were engineered, people would be more afraid of it. We are afraid of what humans do with human technology.
Francis Crick, who was part of the famous team of Francis Crick and James Watson, who were the first to figure out the structure of DNA, had this idea that advanced beings elsewhere might spread life throughout the galaxy by essentially packaging it up, putting it in a rocket, and sending it to distant planets. It's kind of Darwinian. You can say, if any race out there in the galaxy wanted to do that, and they had the resources to do it, then they're the survivors.
Alien genetic material will do us no harm unless it can interact with our own. Biologists have one hope left: the chirality of the alien genetic material.
Chirality is the handedness of a molecule. If you look at your hands, they're mirror images of one another. And the way some organic compounds can assemble in their architecture allows them to have this left and right-handed configuration.
Human DNA is right-handed. If the chirality of the alien DNA is left-handed, it can't interact with us. And if it can't interact with us, it poses no threat to us or any life on Earth.
I like to tell the parable of driving on the left or the right-hand side of the road. Here, people drive on the right, but where I come from, Britain, they drive on the left. Of course, it doesn't matter whether you drive on the left or the right, as long as everybody does the same.
This last roll of the dice comes up as yet another pair. The alien DNA molecule is a match, right-handed, just like ours. As rumors circle the globe like lightning, everyone has a theory. The coincidence of cells from space that can interact with ours is too great. The aliens designed it with us in mind. Or we've met these aliens before.
When you see something so complex and so similar, then it's just possible it's got a common origin.
An invasion without bloodshed. An occupation without a clear motive. By a form of life that shares our genetic material. Maybe this isn't an invasion, just a reunion.
We're pretty sure that life had established itself on Earth by 3.5 billion years ago. But the question already conceals an assumption, which is that life on Earth began on Earth. We don't know that's so. It could be that life, for example, began on Mars and then came to Earth.
This idea that we might be life that came from Mars, this is called panspermia for obvious reasons, okay? The idea that life might somehow get kicked off on a rock and comes over to another planet, so life could spread throughout the solar system. There's no reason that couldn't have happened.
At Arizona State University, thousands of meteorites hold clues about the genesis of our solar system, and maybe even the origin of life within it.
Meteorites are cool for several reasons, because they tell us a story where we came from, and every meteorite tells us a slightly different story.
One of the most celebrated storytellers is the Murchison meteorite, which fell to Earth in Australia in 1969.
The Murchison meteorite was collected soon after the fall. What does it look like inside? Every single chip of this contains around 40,000 different organic compounds. What was most interesting was the fact that they found amino acids. This was the first time that extraterrestrial amino acids had been discovered.
Amino acids are very important for life as we know it. Anytime you're talking about cells taking in materials from outside and doing some kind of chemical processing to release energy, at the heart of that process are going to be amino acids.
What we're trying to answer in astrobiology is the ultimate question, that is life something that is easy to make, or is it a bizarre fluke that might be restricted to Earth? And of course, if life has happened twice, then surely it's happened many, many times all around the universe.
This is an invasion, people. Y'all want to know the truth about E.T.? Right here, y'all.
There are those who believe the aliens are puppeteers, engineering life to dominate, or at least survive here.
Are you feeling warm?
Is Earth being used as a giant lab experiment? And are we the guinea pigs? Humans have long puzzled over the origins of life. "60 years ago, we discovered it might not be that complicated.
You look at this and you just think it's a ad hoc assembly of glass and tubes and everything, but it's not.
In 1953, this apparatus was used by chemist Stanley Miller to mimic the chemical kitchen of early Earth. His experiment cooked up a groundbreaking discovery.
This flask here is to simulate the ocean and evaporation from the ocean. This is to simulate the atmosphere, where you have gases like methane, ammonia, and hydrogen, because that was what the composition of the early atmosphere would be.
Once Miller set up his model of ancient Earth, he zapped the primordial brew with simulated lightning. A week later, the brew turned brown.
And that's a good sign. Showed you made something.
What he had made was amino acids, a half dozen of them.
This was a big deal because no one had shown before that you could create the building blocks of life without having life already around.
All it takes is just a little bit of dirty chemistry, some gases you find everywhere, and some lightning bolts, and you make the molecules of life.
What biological chemistry could a civilization 1,000 years more advanced than ours cook up? And more importantly, to what end? Biologists test the alien material